Hey everyone, I'm Ingrid Dawn, and welcome to my studio. James Dean is one of my favorite artists of all time, and I happen to own one of his art books, Pareidolia. I was flipping through this beautiful art book, dreaming about having one of James's art pieces tattooed on me someday, and I had the idea of using one of his art pieces to practice with a tattoo machine. Today I'm going to be practicing my lining technique with the tattoo machine. I'm using a 3-round liner and a coil machine. The art piece I had chosen was picked because I wanted a design that was complicated enough that it would be enjoyable and present a bit of a challenge, but also simple enough that it could be translated through simple line work with the tattoo machine. As you can see, I have a few bookmarks inside this book, and I had a lot of fun and learned so much throughout this whole process. And I definitely plan on doing more art pieces by James, just for fun, just as practice. Alright, so let's get...
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in for this long. I just wanted to thank you for choosing to watch this video and joining me for just this sliver of my journey. I'm going to be going over all of my notes and letting you know all of my difficulties, challenges, and the things I enjoyed the most about this entire process. The first thing I did to begin this process was trace my stencil. I did this by placing tracing paper directly over top of James's art in the art book. I had a lot of difficulty seeing the sketch underneath. And because I didn't want to damage the book or rip the page out to see better, I had decided to just trace the general shape of what I could see through the tracing paper, and then just eyeball and hand draw the rest in afterwards. When I placed my stencil, I had wanted to make sure that I had hit every corner and spot of the stencil because I didn't want to have any gaps missing. This piece was quite detailed, and I felt it would be a pain to try to freehand, which did actually happen to the stencil. I believe this happened because I had only left the stencil for about 10 to 20 minutes, but I should have left the stencil on for about 45 minutes to even overnight. What I've learned is putting a stencil over top of fake skin, it will wipe away, and perhaps this is due because the stencil won't absorb to the surface of the skin. That may be completely wrong. If that is totally ignorant, please let me know in the comments. I'm definitely eager to learn from anyone who has the answers to these questions, as I'm still a beginner and I'm learning, and not everything you hear online is correct, so let me know what you guys think. Most of my stencil had set on the surface of the fake skin, but there was one spot that was quite detailed that I had a lot of difficulty trying to freehand. This part was the hand, and you'll notice that I had gone over the hand with just a regular pen to draw back in the details that were missing. I had actually made the mistake of just choosing to freehand it, which was probably not the best course of action, and so I think the more appropriate action to take in this situation, rather than try to eyeball it, would have been to immediately draw back over top of the stencil to make sure that there were no errors. Before I had placed my first line with the machine on the fake skin, I felt a bit lost and intimidated. I wasn't quite sure where would be the best place to begin. With my experience up to this point, I have experienced the stencil accidentally wiping away or my hand smudging it, and so because of this, I usually decide to start from the right side, moving towards the left, and that's typically the guide that I choose to follow for now. And I had decided to sort of start somewhere at the top/middle area, roughly around the chest area of the figure and the head, and kind of work my way around there. In my mind, I had split this piece up into 3 sections, and the sections were split from her chest head area to her torso, with all of the ribbons wrapping around her body there, to about her knee area down to her feet. And those were the 3 sections I decided to map out. It was really hard to overcome the shakiness caused from the vibration of the machine, and I'm not sure I completely had gotten used to that sensation. I found that it caused my lines to be quite wonky, and my prediction of where the needle hits on the lines was quite off as well. I found myself overdrawing. Because you have to keep a steady, slow hand to create full lines, rather than limiting my strokes from the angle of my wrist. I'm not entirely sure if this is beneficial as a tattoo artist or not, but I found it to be quite helpful. I had noticed on my power box that the tattoo machine would actually just not work past a certain point. I think it was anywhere under 4.5. So I had decided to keep my voltage level at about 5.5, I believe, was what I used. And this seemed to work the best for me. Another point I had noticed was the deeper I had pushed the needle into the fake skin, the shakier my hand had become. I realized because I'm a beginner, I don't quite have an understanding how deep I should be pushing the needle into the skin with the machine. And that's just something that will come through practice. Trouble with ink smudging on the surface of the skin, and so you'll notice me constantly wiping away with stencil remover, as it had become difficult to see. And I'm not sure if perhaps this is the ink that I'm using that makes it so hard to wipe away with just regular cleaning solution, or if perhaps it is the length of time I'm waiting to wipe away. I'm not entirely sure why that happens, but I did find that using the stencil remover spray was the best solution to that problem. It didn't completely take away all of the ink. There's still some stained splotches on the surface, unfortunately, but I did the best I could, and it's still quite clear. You can see the design. So my final thoughts for this piece was I honestly didn't really like the end results at all. The finished product I think would have looked a lot better, and I wouldn't have been able to execute this right now due to my current skill level, but I think the finished product would have looked a lot better with a gray wash over the whole ribbon, also thicker lines around the perimeter of the whole figure. The dark spots scattered around the ribbon seemed to make the figure blend into the canvas too much, which defeats the real focal point, which is the figure. To solve this, I think I should have made the lines around the perimeter of the subject thicker to bring the figure forward and stand with the ribbon rather than behind it. I've learned that the areas of technique I need improvement on are definitely my hand pressure. I found in certain areas of the piece that the lines were so light and delicate, and other parts of the piece were a lot darker and deeper set into the fake skin. And I definitely struggled with a steady hand. I'm not yet used to working with the vibration of a coil machine. I also realized that I overdrew a lot and need to work on connecting my lines as well. And probably the biggest thing I need to work on is my shading techniques. I used a 3-round liner for the whole practice session, and what I think I should have done was switch over to a Magnum to create a softer blend. But you know, I did my best, and I know I learned so much from this experience, and I'm really glad that I decided to document this. It means so much to me that someone out in the world has watched this video, and if you would like to support me or learn alongside with me, please like this video and subscribe to watch more. See you in the next one.